When I went back to my superior's office, the visitors had already left.
We've got an assignment and I bet you're firstborn. You'll see something sensational.
He announced, holding a photograph of a young Caucasian guy, sporting a cocky grin. Please do not bet my firstborn who's not even born. Rowling clicked his tongue.
You have no sense of humor.
I didn't know I was summoned just to be insulted.
Anyway, an acquaintance of my acquaintance's acquaintance was involved in an incident.
He said, completely ignoring my words of resistance. According to him, the two beautiful female visitors were Beth and Ruth McMahon. Beth, the elder of the duo, was the one he knew. It was about her younger sister Ruth's boyfriend, who disappeared in a strange circumstance. So, what's your relationship with Beth? I asked, casually, expecting an answer in line of something like a neighbor.
She's my old man's lover.
He stated matter-of-factly. Old man? You mean, like your father?
I don't call my mother an old man.
I recalled Tennyson's lecture. Daniel Rowling, my boss's father, was a former director of the FBI. After his retirement, he became the CEO of USCAB, taking over from his father, who had founded the company, and expanded the business to a Fortune 500 company. According to Tennyson, Daniel Rowling was a real billionaire who was about to join the Trillionaires Club. Speaking of mother, what's your mom's take on his having a lover outside their marriage? I asked, curiosity getting the better of my manners.
Which one?
Rowling cocked his head. Well, most people have just one mom.
I'm not most people. The biological one went out of my life when I was 3. She's happily divorced and pursuing her new and old career as an artist in Melbourne, with a beau younger than me. Considering she never remarried, she isn't stupid, I guess. As for the other woman I used to call mother, she died 10 years ago, complications from multiple sclerosis.
I'm sorry.
For what?
I'm sorry for your loss, and for asking a nosy question. He shrugged.
Never mind. I didn't know Beth was still in the city. Considering the old fart is on a business trip in Tokyo for 2 more weeks. He's going to find women there.
That was too much information. I didn't know what to say, so I kept my mouth shut. Then he said abruptly.
Anyway, Beth is Miss Tuesday.
Miss Tuesday? I parroted.
Yup. The old bastard has 5 girlfriends. Each woman is in charge of a specific day of the week from Monday to Friday. He calls Saturday and Sunday freedom days, and does highly unethical activities. Talk about the enemy of moral standards.
I rolled my eyes. Sounds like a tough guy. How old is he?
He should be 70 unless he's cheating Social Security.
Having 5 lovers at the age of 70? That was outstanding. Yet bordering on gross. So, what about Ruth? Is she Miss Monday?
Wrong. She's Miss Wednesday.
What? My jaw dropped to the floor.
I was kidding. Ruth has a boyfriend. Actually, she has not 1 but 2 boyfriends. Well, the number is not the issue, as she can have as many lovers as she likes. One of them is a vain painter, the other a vain actor infesting off-Broadway. Both of them blame the ignorant society that doesn't appreciate their great genius for the lack of their success.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, right. The kind of pathetic excuse of artists whose best expertise is beautifying the fact that they can't make ends meet. Anyway, some women fall for their type and Ruth happens to be one of them. She has a good education. And she's not particularly ugly, but the rest is history. She's been with not just 1, but 2 pathetic losers, happily providing them with moral and financial support. What's her problem?
There's no accounting for taste, I commented.
As a consequence of having bad taste in men, one of her boyfriends has gone missing, and the other is being held as a murder suspect at the 34th precinct of the NYPD. Let's go see the loser.
Which one of the boyfriends is missing?
The painter.
He answered. Staring at the photograph, he continued.
He's dead.
His tone was unemotional, as if he were talking about weather. I was still skeptical about Tennyson's words regarding Rowling's gift to see if a person was dead or alive just by looking at photographs.
Mandy, how do you kill douchebags just by touching them?
He countered. I didn't kill them.
Then again they dropped dead. And no one can provide a plausible explanation to the incidents. Shit happens.
He shrugged, and then he explained the case. A man called Ivan Flynn disappeared, and the way it happened was far from normal. He vanished, leaving his garments and shoes remaining in a heap. Ivan Flynn graduated from a top art college more than 10 years ago. And he was still waiting to be discovered. He'd recently switched his career path from fine art to commercial illustrator. Apparently, he believed illustration wasn't real art. But the job was easier and the pay was better, which was the reason for the change in Flynn's career path, provided by Ruth. I'm not an illustrator, but the moment I heard about this, I hated Ivan. He'd landed a gig for an online gaming program, featuring wizards, warriors, and monsters. Actually, it was Ruth who set up the deal. But she opted not to tell Ivan for the fear of damaging his pride.
Damaging his pride, talk about exaggeration.
Rowling laughed his behind off when mentioning this part. Ivan started working on the project, isolating himself in a shabby apartment he called the atelier. Meanwhile, John Sanguinis, a stage actor and Ruth's other boyfriend, was as unsuccessful as Ivan in his field. They loathed each other like Lindsay Lohan and Amanda Bynes, only cattier and less famous. Which made sense because losing Ruth meant losing the bread from the mouths of both boys. Late in the night, John paid a visit to Ivan's tiny apartment. According to John, Ivan had called him and declared his victory in the war of conquering Ruth's heart. John didn't take it very well and went straight to Ivan's atelier, determined to punch him. Ivan answered John's knock without opening the door. After a noisy verbal altercation, John ended up smashing through the cheap door by kicking it. When he came inside, Ivan, who was arguing with him only a minute before, was nowhere to be seen. Responding to a neighbor's noise complaint, a police officer arrived to find John lying on the floor, passed out and a huge candle burning. At first, this incident was considered to be a late-night fight and vandalism until the police found a dental implant and bone fragments scattered around an unconscious John Sanguinis. Forensic analysis confirmed the bone fragments as parts of Ivan Flynn's pelvis. And after confirming the implant's owner as Ivan from the serial number, the dentist told the police that her patient came to her office earlier on the day of his disappearance when she saw him. The implant was securely attached to his jawbone. John Sanguinis became the prime suspect of a murder case. Wow, my boss had a tough upbringing. And his dad sounds like his child reincarnated, I guess. History may not repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. On the next episode, we're off to NYPD. Guess what? I'm not just worried about my boss going wild. I'm also scared of the stench of the interrogation room. You know how sometimes it smells like burnt popcorn? Yikes. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.